Not every piece of news begins with a name, a fee, or an official confirmation. Some start with clear signs that something is moving behind the scenes, while the club remains in complete silence. At Newcastle, this kind of movement rarely happens by chance. When information begins to circulate discreetly and the club appears ahead of powerful competitors, supporters sense that a plan is underway and that the next decision could change the course of the season. As the calendar moves forward and the transfer window approaches, every small rumor gains weight. A quiet comment here, a specific report there, and suddenly that familiar feeling emerges that something big is about to happen. Newcastle are living a crucial moment in their project, trying to establish themselves as a consistent force among the Premier League's top clubs. In this context, any strategic move can represent an important leap forward for the club in the coming years. What stands out is that, unlike other windows, the club seems to be acting with more patience and precision. There are no immediate blockbuster announcements, but rather subtle signs that planning is well underway. Eddie Howe and the board know that the next step needs to be spot on, especially to keep the team competitive both domestically and in potential European campaigns. And it is precisely this careful approach that fuels even more curiosity among the fans. For those who follow Newcastle closely, this kind of strategic silence often comes before major decisions. It is not just about signing players for the sake of it, but about finding pieces that genuinely raise the level of the squad. If you enjoy following this kind of behind-the-scenes movement and understanding how every detail can impact the club's future, it is worth liking the video and subscribing to the channel, because this type of content really makes a difference for supporters who want to stay ahead of the news. This is the point where the information starts to take shape and the picture becomes clearer. According to Spanish outlet Fichajes, Newcastle United are leading the race to sign Brazilian right-back Wesley Franca, currently at Roma. This revelation completely changes the tone of the conversation, because we are not talking about just any name, but a player described as immense, young and on a rapid rise in European football. The news places the Magpies in a strong position in what promises to be an intense battle in the upcoming January window. Newcastle's interest in Wesley does not come out of nowhere. The club currently sits sixth in the Premier League table and know there is still work to be done to close the gap on the top four. Qualification for the next Champions League is seen as a realistic objective, but one that requires targeted high-quality reinforcements. Eddie Howe understands that to compete on equal terms with the league's biggest forces, the squad needs quality, depth and players with room to grow. Wesley Franca fits that profile perfectly. At just 22 years old, the Brazilian right-back has been standing out in Serie A since joining Roma. According to figures presented by Fichajes, he has already made 21 appearances for the Italian club, scoring 3 goals. Impressive numbers for someone in his position. On top of that, his rapid development has attracted the attention of scouts from several European clubs. The report highlights that Newcastle see the Brazilian as an extremely interesting player due to his strong presence in both boxes. Wesley is not only a solid defender, but also contributes going forward, offering intensity, physical strength, and intelligent reading of the game. These are qualities increasingly valued in modern football, especially in the Premier League, where physical demands are relentless. However, Newcastle's task is far from simple. The race for Wesley is expected to be fierce, with Manchester City and Tottenham also closely monitoring the player's situation. When clubs of that caliber enter the picture, the scenario becomes instantly more competitive, both sporting-wise and financially. Even so, the fact that the Magpies are being tipped as frontrunners shows the weight the club's project has gained in recent years. Another important point highlighted by Fichajes is that Roma are under no immediate pressure to sell the player. The Italian club know that Wesley's market value is likely to rise if he continues developing at his current pace. This means any negotiation would require a convincing offer, both for the player and for Roma's board. Still, a strategic sale remains possible, especially if the funds raised are used to strengthen other areas of the squad. For Newcastle, this type of investment makes sense within their medium and long-term planning. The club are not only chasing immediate results, but also building a solid foundation for the future. Signing a young player, already tested in a major European league and with clear potential for appreciation, is exactly the kind of move that reinforces this strategy. If you are enjoying this deeper analysis and want to keep following every step Newcastle take in the transfer market, subscribing to the channel is a simple way to support the work and make sure you do not miss any important updates. The idea here is always to go beyond the headline and explain the full context for supporters. Beyond the interest in Wesley, there is an internal factor that makes this potential signing even more significant. Newcastle may be preparing for a possible departure of Tino Livramento. According to NEWCASTLE, the right-back, who is under contract until 2028, is not currently interested in renewing his deal with the club. This situation raises alarms behind the scenes at St James Park. Valued at around £60 million, Livramento is attracting strong interest from Manchester City. If a concrete offer arrives, Newcastle will have to carefully assess their options. The 23-year-old has already made 98 appearances for the club, contributing 1 goal and 3 assists. while playing an important role in the team's defensive consistency. A potential exit for Livramento would make the search for a high-level replacement almost mandatory. Kieran Trippier, meanwhile, is already 35 years old and approaching the final years of his professional career. Despite being an important leader within the squad, the club know they must plan for the future of the position. It is in this context that Wesley Franca emerges as an extremely interesting option. Young, physically strong, and experienced at a high level, the Brazilian could arrive ready to compete immediately while also representing a long-term solution. For Eddie Howe, having reliable options in that role is essential to maintaining the team's tactical balance. What makes this possible deal even more intriguing is the timing. The January window is usually complicated, with clubs reluctant to let go of key players halfway through the season. Still, when there is planning, financial power, and a convincing sporting project, surprises can happen. And Newcastle have shown they are willing to act intelligently. According to Fitchages, interested clubs are aware that Wesley's value could rise quickly, which may accelerate decisions behind the scenes. For Roma, a profitable sale could help fund reinforcements in other areas of the squad, particularly in attack. For Newcastle, it would be an opportunity to move ahead of the competition and secure a sought-after player before his price climbs even higher. This kind of movement shows how the English club are becoming increasingly attentive to the international market, especially Brazilian talent, which has historically enjoyed success in the Premier League. Adaptation from Brazilian football to the English game can vary, but with the right structure and support, the potential for success is huge. If you enjoy understanding how these pieces fit together and what each rumour could mean for Newcastle's future, it is worth reinforcing the invitation to subscribe to the channel. That way you stay on top of everything firsthand and help the channel continue delivering complete and reliable analysis. In the end, the interest in Wesley Franca represents much more than just a possible signing. It symbolizes Newcastle's ambition to remain competitive, to plan carefully for the future and not rely solely on short-term solutions. It is a clear sign that the club are alert, active, and ready to face giants in the transfer market. While nothing has been made official, supporters follow each new update with anticipation. The market may still bring twists, fierce competition, and drawn-out negotiations, but one thing is certain: Newcastle are at the center of the conversation, and that alone shows the level of relevance the club has achieved. The main source for this information is Fitchages, with additional input from Talksport regarding Tino Livramento's contractual situation. As always, we continue to monitor developments to separate concrete facts from speculation, bringing everything to you in a clear and responsible way. And now the question hangs in the air: could Wesley Franca be the next big step in Eddie Howe's project? The answer may come sooner than many expect, so stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss any chapter of this story, which still promises plenty of twists and turns.